I'm Scott.
I'm Ben.
And this is a review. On today's episode, which is episode 16, we'll be reviewing Disney's Marvel's The Avengers Infinity War.
Part 1.
Technically. Disney's Marvel's The Avengers Infinity War stars Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Thor as Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, Steve Rogers as Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, James Rhodes as Don Cheadle, Doctor Strange as Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland as Spider-Parker, Chadwick Black Panther as Boseman T'Challa, Karen Gillan as Nebula, Gamora as Zoe Saldana, Tom Hiddleston as Tom Hiddleston, Paul Bettany as Vision, Anthony Mackie as Falcon Wilson, Bucky Barnes as Sebastian Stan, Idris Elba as Heimdall, and Josh Brolin as Thanos. Ben, what did you think about Disney Marvel's The Avengers Infinity War Crisis on Infinite Earths The Justice League Part 1, the movie?
Okay, so there is so much.
We're spoiling the hell out of this movie.
Yeah,
this
there's
is not
literally no way to talk about this movie in a real substantial way without spoiling shit out of it.
4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Loki dies.
Yeah.
Gamora dies. Who else dies?
Basically,
Vision dies.
Basically, the entire half of every character you love, of all the characters you love in the MCU,
Heimdall.
Get turned to ash.
Yeah.
And fade away.
So, spoilers out of the way. Also, Red Skull comes back, which we'll get into.
Red Skull's
he's a Nazi wizard in space.
He's a Nazi space wizard.
Okay, so spoilers, like we said.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Spoilers abound. This movie is perhaps the most ambitious film ever created.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there's any competition. This is the most massive cast ever assembled for a film.
Of like A-list stars.
Legitimately A-list.
Like huge stars.
These people that lead entire other global franchises separate from this.
Yeah. Are like the B Squad in this movie.
Are literally like in this movie for maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah. So how many characters we had about? We had
I think the figure that was rolling around is that there's 65 major characters in this film.
And how many movies is this built towards?
This is the 19th. So 18
movies coming
over
up
an entire decade.
For 10 years, starting with Iron Man 1, building just year after year.
Correct.
And it's incredible to sit down and just see all these things come together. Now, we've seen the Avengers meet, and that's a big event, just the Avengers themselves, but now they're meeting Doctor Strange, they're meeting Black Panther. Oh, they know Black Panther. They're meeting
the Guardians of the
Galaxy. And the thing I really like about this movie is it feels like a movie. Like the reasons that they have to go find each other feels like something that would happen in a fun action movie or an actual movie, not just forcing these characters to come together all at the same time.
Exactly. As just storytelling and like as far as like the narrative mechanics work, this fucking works.
Yeah.
They literally make a movie that works. It's a 3-act,
2.5 hours,
2.5 hour movie that legitimately works.
Yeah.
With 65 characters.
Or however many, yeah.
And organically set up and paid off plot threads from 18 films.
Well, that's what
over
it is.
10 years.
Yeah.
And legitimately, there are threads from every single movie they have ever done in very real, substantial ways in this movie.
Yeah, like the most obvious ones leading back to the fact that the original invasion in the Avengers movie was Loki working for Thanos. So, like, this all has been building blocks working towards this. And if you have seen every one of those movies, you are now intimately aware with every one of these characters to a degree that there are high stakes. And they introduce right away with the death of Loki, which happens in the first scene of the movie.
Yeah, first 5 minutes.
Yeah, him and Heimdall both get offed, and the entirety of Asgard all get murdered. And it really makes you worried for the rest of the movie because everyone is going into this knowing nobody's safe. And so when people get into these tussles, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
are they going to make it?
Who's going to bite it?
Yeah.
And
they added a lot.
And I love how this movie is a lot of doing work to basically say, no, we will go there. This movie is pretty gnarly. Like, for all the criticism about how Marvel's just, it's poppy, it's episodic, we know these people don't have stakes. Well, it's like, it almost feels like they're big fuck you. It's like, yeah, no, we literally were doing all those things to build up to this, and now we are going to literally shock you to your core for the entirety of 2.5 hours.
Loki's death alone shocked me because, he gets choked out, thrown on the floor like a rag doll, and his eyes roll back white, and you see his choke marks on his neck, like he's dead as a doorknob.
Bleeding out of his eyes.
Yeah, it's really
in a shot.
It's
that's a direct frame graphic match to when he got sack of potato by the Hulk in the first Avengers.
Oh, wow.
It's almost identical.
Yeah.
And so it's so not just the major plot storyline that they are able to integrate and work within this movie and make it still work. It's down to little subtle motifs and nods and little Easter eggs and nudges here and there from 18 other movies.
Yeah, the nuances to this is just incredible. It's just absolutely awe-inspiring to just see how these characters interact together, and you know how they're going to react, but it's just so much more fun to see Tony Stark and Doctor Strange in a room together and seeing all these characters, how they interact. It's really fun.
Yeah, there are several moments where, if you've been following this at all, you can't help but feel it's awe-inspiring. Honestly, you're sitting there kind of glassy-eyed, just holy shit, a movie can do this. It was so amazing to be legitimately wowed and just
the scope of it,
just enraptured by the spectacle of a movie.
The scope of this thing is
magical.
Huge. It doesn't feel like in the first Avengers, those giant things that come down. You actually even see those at one point. There's in the background in a flashback.
On
Titan.
Thanos.
But the scope of it just feels like a real disaster. It doesn't feel like they're gonna succeed. You have this gut feeling from the get-go that this isn't gonna go well.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference, I think. That's none of these movies have ever had the kind of stakes that this one does.
Exactly.
And
on top of all that, the individual character payoffs are incredible. Specifically Captain America.
Yes.
Iron Man, and Thor. Can we just talk about how Thor,
the original
in the span
three,
of basically 1.5 movies,
became one of the best characters?
Became literally the most metal motherfucker.
I love Thor
in the MCU. He's a goddamn rock star.
Well, I'm so glad they brought back his big thunder punch from the sky that was in Thor Ragnarok. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And his new weapon, his axe, Stormbreaker. Awesome.
He has and they make up for where they've faltered.
This could have been half this movie is a Thor movie, basically. His own Thor movie with the Guardians.
This is Thor Ragnarok Part 2.
We could have honestly, we were talking about this a little bit, if they would have split this into 2 movies, which first off, I think this is pretty much perfect without doing that. Yeah. But you could have made an entire Thor/Guardians of the Galaxy crossover movie as its own thing.
Yeah,
to kind of show him
as fuck.
Just getting the weapon back. That could have been a whole movie.
Easily.
And it's basically that's...
And it probably would have made $850 million.
Yeah, and it's truncated into this movie. This movie feels like several movies in one movie, but in a good way. Sometimes we'll say that, and that's a negative thing. This one feels like... Okay.
It's like a Lord of the Rings Return of the King type.
Yeah, you get...
Where you're like, holy fuck, this is the capper. Everyone's getting paid off.
You get completely overwhelmed with one situation. And it's like, okay, let's go back over here.
Yeah.
This is a little bit lighter with the Guardians now. But then, this is getting really rough too. Let's go back over. And then it just all comes to this boiling point where it all kind of comes together. And
it all coalesces into one of the most...
The climax of this film is incredible. But this whole movie feels like
jaw-dropping.
Climax after it just feels like they keep doing a climax and they just keep like the beginning of this movie starts off with a bang and it just keeps on going. Like it just doesn't stop. It doesn't let up and you don't get fatigued somehow.
No, because here's
Thanos.
Not only Thanos.
Yes.
We'll get to Thanos.
Yeah.
But how they know they knew that they weren't going to they were going to run out of ways to out spectacle themselves.
Right.
So, like really masterful filmmakers, they rein it all back and they just go for that emotional gut uppercut.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, we know we're not going to blow you away with any sort of like you've seen us blow our spectacle wad.
Well, I'd say though this blows it even more. Like you think that, but then they even go further. They find a way to like raise it even higher, and you're like, wow,
nuts.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Like most of the trailer is just the finale of the movie. Most of the trailer you're seeing out there is just that battle at the end, which is like a small part of the movie, really.
Yeah, it's like Act 3D.
Yeah. So yeah, Thanos. We gotta talk about Thanos. He's basically the main character here. He's the big baddie. And I remember being very skeptical about the changes they were making to his character when they released the information that he was trying to basically bring balance to the universe and kill half of everything in the universe. They do a pretty decent job of explaining it through his eyes in the movie.
Yeah.
It still seems nuts, but like not so nuts that you believe that somebody and like all of his followers would kind of like buy into this shit, you know?
And not only that, it's aided by what is really sort of a miracle of a performance.
Josh Brolin is incredible, yeah.
And not only Josh Brolin,
the makeup
the performance capture on Thanos is a fully realized 100% CG character.
Yeah.
Much like Steppenwolf in that shit-ass Justice League movie.
Same thing.
But fully realized by a real performance with a real arc and a real story.
The dents in his head, like not like damage,
texture.
just like the texture and like the way his head looks like it's actual shaved head, and you can see like the indentations
and the stubble of his hair.
The stubble, like his eyes, the uncanny valley is gone. Like it's
seamless. It is virtually seamless.
Yeah.
And he's in the entire movie interacting seamlessly with other CG characters on live action sets, live action characters on CG sets.
I will say the first scene with him when he has all of his armor on, I think with all of his armor on he looks a little wonky. Not terrible, but like there's a part where he picks Thor up and it looked a little like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But as soon as you could tell they did most of the work on his actual skin and his finger and his like animating the more detailed parts, and they kind of skipped over the armor, which I think is why you see it less in the trailers.
He just turns it off.
Yeah.
He just takes it off and never wears it again.
I'm sure he'll wear it in the big fight when he's like this is just him.
They'll be able to give it a little more render.
Yeah, they'll do more work on it, but I like that they kind of have him just in his like jogging outfit or whatever.
Basically, yeah, he's running around in his comfy clothes, destroying the fabric of the entire universe.
So I gotta say, I know we have a lot of deaths. I think Gamora might be the big one for me. I think that's the big Vision isn't a person. Yeah. So like that's. You kind of lose a little bit with him.
And it's pretty heavily implied that Vision can be
brought back. Yeah. Also, Loki, I felt pretty bad for Loki, but he's been a villain and like...
He's fake died a couple times before.
Yeah, I think they blew him up after they choked him. I'm pretty sure he's gone this time.
Yeah, he's pretty dead.
But he redeemed himself, but still, he kind of had it coming, so, you know... and he tried to stab Thanos in a really bitch move. That was like, really, that's not going to work. But Gamora is like, she's an emotional center for Peter Quill. She's the star of a movie. Like, that's a big character. Yeah. And they pretty much took her out. Yeah, they threw her off a cliff. And we talked about it's possible they could bring her back. We theorized she could be living in the Soul Stone or her spirit could be in there. We don't know. Yeah. But that's the big kind of surprise. The big twist is that they didn't kill either Iron Man or Captain America. And I think everyone was expecting one of them to go.
But in an awesome little poetic payoff. Guess who's basically all that remains outside of a few not tangential, but like side characters It's the OG Avengers left.
Yeah. Was Black Widow
Yep.
still there? Okay.
Yep.
Because they basically the end, if obviously you've seen it if you're listening to this, I hope, but Thanos gets all the stones, snaps his fingers, and wipes out half the universe like he promised.
Yeah.
Followed through, and literally just random half of the universe disappears. So obviously they're all coming back. You're not killing off Black Panther.
Yeah. Or Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man, not yet. Or all the Guardians of the fucking Galaxy. Yeah. Like, no, they're not all dead. But I could see them sticking with the deaths throughout the first half of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Like up to Gamora, I think.
Yeah. Gamora's like in that...
She's in that weird realm where she could like be dead for a while and get brought back somehow.
Yeah, we were talking about it'd be neat.
It could go either way.
Like Guardians 3, they could try to bring her back or something.
Yeah,
that could
that'd
be the
be
plot.
interesting.
But yeah, so all the performances are great. All the action is great. The cinematography is great.
Not to interrupt you, isn't that insane though? How this movie works so goddamn well? It still sets up
other
potential
movies.
sequels.
Yeah.
For complete all the franchise that are not only is it building up toward this movie is also an amazing launching point
for a lot of stuff,
for a lot of different threads moving forward.
Well,
it's
and
just like, all right, word, cool.
This is an event that does impact every movie. Like that's the big thing I'm wondering about is Ant-Man and the Wasp because that comes out next, and if it takes place pretty post Infinity War, that doesn't make any sense. No. So I'm assuming it's got to take place alongside or right before. So that's an interesting thing. And then we got Captain Marvel, obviously.
Which we know is set before...
in the 90s, yeah.
All of the MCU prior.
Yeah, that's the first of the... Well, except for Captain America.
Yeah,
Captain America
and
then Captain Marvel. All the captains got to get out of the way first.
That's right. That's right.
Peter Dinklage is in the film. Let's talk about Peter Dinklage for a second.
Peter Dinklage plays a giant dwarf.
Yeah, I thought that was really awkward.
It's a little awkward.
Like, I get what they're doing.
That's probably the one thing in the movie that, like, you could say to a fair degree of, like, certainty that's one of the things that doesn't work in the movie.
No, I don't think it works much at all. Like, his character
But it's still band-aided, though, because he's part of what arguably the most, like, heroic metal fucking sequence in the movie.
Well, the
forging of Stormbreaker.
Creating the sword is great. The point of it's fine. It's kind of something you need because he even explains where the Infinity Gauntlet came from, and the giant dwarf is weird. Like he sounds weird. Like he's doing an odd accent.
He's doing like Tyrion mixed with Thor.
He's doing Tyrion mixed with like the dwarf from Lord of the Rings or whatever. It's like a gruff Tyrion.
Yeah, he's like Gimli Tyrion.
Yeah, and the CG on him looks a little awkward because with
the force perspective.
The force perspective, yeah. So that's one of the only, I'd say, negatives in the movie is that whole thing is a little weird. But then, like you said, the actual forging of the thing is badass. So, great.
Thor literally, like, that moment in Winter Soldier, is it Winter Soldier or Civil War? Winter Soldier, where Cap is holding onto a building on one side and holding a helicopter on the other and flexing like that.
Thor doing
gets that moment, but literally taking the full-blown blast of a fucking star.
Yeah. He crisp him to and melt
he gets
them.
Burnt almost to a crisp so he can forge his amazing axe.
And then teenage Groot chops off his fucking arm to be the handle. Oh, man, it's a great sequence.
Oh, my God.
And knowing that Thor has Groot as part of his hammer, that's something else that could be fun, where like Thor could be using the hammer and there could have Groot coming out of it because we know Groot grows out of things. Now that does have one problem for me is the fact that part of Groot is in Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
Groot fluttered away in the wind, but Thor's hammer or Stormbreaker did not. Stormbringer or whatever. The handle did not flutter away in the wind, which was part of Groot. That is a very big nitpick.
Yeah.
I just now thought of that.
I can even band-aid that already, just be like the magic of Stormbreaker.
Yeah, I know, but like it's just that's a fun thing. But like I said, in Guardians 1, a single stick grew into Groot, so we could theorize that Thor could potentially have a little bit of Groot action in the future.
And also the fact that in this massive, with so many moving parts and so many characters, that like you have to dig to like, what if but the handle on
Yeah.
Stormbreaker's helmet, bleh.
Yeah,
Like, you have to
it's-
dig that goddamn deep to actually
That's-
find shit that's like a little wonky.
That's like the
Whereas,
biggest...
like, you could be like, the same thing, like, duh, the entire plot of the Justice League movie.
Well, yeah, and like I said, it's not... it's
like
not
DC can't handle the continuity between Batman v Superman and Justice League.
They can't make
and
two-
Marvel can literally juggle their entire filmography, both past, present, and future,
Yeah.
into a single 2.5 hour extravaganza.
But the handle.
Yeah, but that goddamn handle.
That ruined
fucking nerd.
It took the movie down a whole letter from it. No, it's just something I was just thinking about.
No,
but
it's good.
It's great. There's so much that's been added to this. And the stinger, obviously, we got little tease of Captain Marvel coming to save the day. And so we were going to talk about Red Skull. This is the one thing I thought was another weird one for me.
It's a little wonky.
Is Thanos and Gamora go to like this weird planet to get the Spirit Stone, which
Soul Stone.
Same thing. Yeah, Spirit Stone's a different one, right?
No,
it's Soul
no, it's the Mind Stone.
There is no Spirit Stone.
No.
Okay, close enough. Soul Stone. So the like keeper of the planet is Red Skull, which you guys will remember was who's the actor that played Red Skull?
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving in the original Captain America movie. This is basically the alternate Hitler. He's World War II Hydra leader.
Yep.
Who he had I thought he had the Tesseract though.
He did.
So how did he get the Soul Stone?
Because
he said in this movie that he too tried to get the Soul Stone and that it killed him.
It's implied that Hydra was on a mission to find some of the Infinity Stones. And he's like, I was on a mission for the stones. I even held one in my hand because he did hold the Tesseract.
Yeah.
And because
that fucked up his face.
Yeah, and that him getting turned into Red Skull and then having knowledge of because Thanos in the movie talks about like how Tony is cursed with knowledge.
Okay.
And like because Tony's been a powerful mortal that's been exposed to like the cosmic secrets of the galaxy.
Right.
And they sort of imply that sort of happened with Red Skull and his melding with the Tesseract. It's there. There's enough there.
I don't think so actually because I get what you're saying. But Red Skull, didn't they blow him up in like
I think falls to his death in like a smelting plant.
Yeah. So he's a ghost. Okay, it's just
he's spooky ghost.
So he's spooky Nazi ghost keeper. He's like I don't know.
It's fine.
It's a little too stupid for me. Of like it's like why did they even need to have it be somebody? It could have just been like.
It would have been interesting if it would have been like a Watcher.
A Watcher or I don't know.
Something
like,
a little more like from the cosmic realm, like something that they set up like either or maybe another setup for like Captain Marvel. Maybe it's like a rebel, like a Kree or something like that.
I mean, it could have just been a shadowy thing. It didn't have to be anybody.
It could have been Death.
Could have been Death.
But they like want to get away from like the Death storyline.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't bad. It just was weird to me, and I was like,
it's a little wonky.
It felt a little forced.
Yeah,
like just throwing anher character in there for no reason, and it's like, really, Red Skull.
So what's our count? Because like we don't want to like be the people that are like, this is a flawless, amazing, 100% movie. So,
no, it's not. But it's pretty damn good.
Here are the things like of the three things that
Peter Dinklage
don't work in the movie.
Peter Dinklage,
the Red Skull.
Red Skull is weird.
Functionality.
Yeah.
And then the nitpick about Stormbreaker's hand.
I mean, like with Thanos, you have to have the nitpick in general of just like once he has a certain amount of those stones, he can just kill all of them like that anyways. Like he doesn't need all the stones, and it's like it feels a little like
the rollout of what the gauntlet can do is probably a little
but that's
forcibly prolonged, I guess.
I'd say that's inherently a problem with the Infinity Gauntlet storyline is that like the idea of the Infinity Gauntlet is that it's the most impossible to defeat thing in the world. You can control time, reality, space, everything.
Yeah.
Then how could you be stopped? You can't. There's no way. Like that's the biggest problem with Infinity War.
But that's why we gotta watch the untitled Avengers 4 sequel,
right.
Infinity War Part 2, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
But even in the comics or the cartoons, like whatever way they devise, always kind of just conveniently ignores part of his power set. Like, you have to ignore aspects of being able to basically see around you and create the world around you and control time and do anything. You have to just kind of like, we kind of forgot about this. Now, usually how they play it is they get Thanos' ego to work against him, and that he kind of defeats himself. So I'm sure that's how they'll kind of play it in the next movie.
And also, they do imply that he is...
Well, he damaged the...
That the gauntlet is damaged, and Thanos is wounded.
Maybe.
A little bit.
Well, we didn't see his chest at the end again after that, so we didn't see any damage. What Thor did...
Thor nearly murks him.
Yeah, we'll see if that stays. We could see, like, easily he could have just, fixed himself.
Exactly. But who knows, because it is because of the magic of Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
It could be some sort of thing where some...
Well, and that's what I was saying, too, is, like, in the context of this movie, I think it works because Thanos completed his goal. He never wanted to murder everybody, but he did complete his goal. And they depowered, it looks like, the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, at the end of the movie, the Infinity Gauntlet looks like it's cracked and, like, broken apart, or maybe even fused in his skin a little bit. Yeah. So we don't know if he might be able to have those powers, but maybe the fact that it's embedded, it'll be... I don't know, we'll see. I'm sure they'll...
recharge or something.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll work it out. I'm sure it'll make sense. I'm just saying, like, just inherently with the Infinity Gauntlet...
You set up some potential pitfalls.
Yeah, it just inherently doesn't really make a lot of sense that there's any going... Like, once he's got the stones, it should be game over. Like, that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
You know?
Which it nearly is anyways.
It is. Yeah. In this movie, it is. So in the context, it works. Yeah. And it is like the Avengers are defeated at the end. And there's basically very little hope.
Yeah.
So it is
dark and desolate times.
It is definitely Empire Strikes Back in that way, and I love this movie. I was glued to the screen from start to finish.
Yep. Gripping our seats in that Dolby Atmos theater.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Ooh wee.
And it did not feel at all like 2.5 hours. It felt like hour 45.
It just blitzes along.
Yeah, I wanted it to keep going for another 30 minutes.
I could have handled another 30 minutes.
Another hour.
That's the thing. They're saying how in Avengers 4 could be even longer than this. Dude, give me that Return of the King. I'll watch a 3.5 hour version of this shit. I don't give a fuck.
I'll go 4.
But I don't care.
They just need an intermission.
Maybe, yeah, dude, go the Hateful Eight route. That's fine. I don't care. Like, all I know is that they prove that they can jumbo pack a movie literally to the tits.
Yeah, they gotta go. They gotta raise the stakes now. That's gonna be the tricky part. Yeah, exactly. How are they gonna go even bigger?
Yeah, how the fuck do you ratchet this shit up even further?
Because honestly,
tune in a year to find out.
Honestly, I don't think after I don't think you can ratchet it up more after. You can only do this one more time. In my opinion. Yeah. Like, you can only ratchet things up to this level without just destroying the universe completely and being done. So, like, that's gotta be the finale to end all finales.
Well, I mean, Doctor Strange is a great line. He's like, dude, we're at the end game now.
Yeah.
And that's a very metatextual line where it's like, we're about to, like, literally blow our final wad and then, like, this is done. This entire, like, as much as this... What we know of the MCU has been broken up into phases.
Yeah.
This entire 20 film saga...
all building to this...
is going to be over and going to be done. And, like, we are going to be blazing forward.
Yeah.
And an entirely new paradigm of what a Marvel movie is in T-minus 2 years. So, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, and, you know, we've been gushing about this movie. We've said the flaws. We've said what we've loved. We're going to skip final thoughts this week. You guys get it. We both give this probably 10 out of 10, right? Like, or 9.5 out of 10. We're both really close.
It's pretty sweet.
We liked it a lot. And, yeah, I cannot wait.
We did a jumbo-sized episode this week, folks.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know... It's hard, though, because it's kind of like a lot of these cliffhanger movies where, like, this is ending on a major cliffhanger where half of the Avengers or more are just gone.
Yeah.
And... it's almost like you got to grade it on a curve to be like, this was an amazing experience, but now I have to wait to see how it resolves. Yeah. But as a standalone movie, which it's not, but as one movie, it's amazing. This thing is incredible.
Yeah.
This is going to be remembered for years as one of the most ambitious and incredible films ever conceived.
Yeah, this is a truly mammoth, staggering achievement on so many different levels. It demands to be seen. I think
the hype is real.
Yeah.
And the hype is obviously well deserved, and that's it. That's the movie. That's Infinity War. We finally made it. I'm pretty exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted, and I'm just gonna have to sit back and wait to see what happens next.
You betcha.
So tune in next week for whatever's out. I don't know what's out, but we'll have episode.
I don't even know what's out.
Yeah, I don't either. But we'll have episode 3 of Westworld for sure.
Yeah.
So you got that to look forward to next Monday.
That's right. I'll be back. Don't worry.
Ben will be back. And hey, this has been a review. I'm Scott.
I'm Ben.
Thanks for listening.